if I told you that motivation isn't something you either have or don't have? What if I told you that motivation is something you can manufacture on demand? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create motivation when you're feeling like shit, when you're unmotivated, when you don't feel like doing anything. And this isn't about pushing through with discipline or grinding when you don't want to. This is about actually making yourself want to take action. And I've used this exact system to build my coaching business to multiple seven figures, compete and get first place, be in incredible shape, and consistently show up for my clients and myself, even when I don't feel like it. Now, before we do get into the formula, I want to address something important. There's, this idea floating around that motivation doesn't matter. Only discipline does. You've probably heard a lot of influencers say discipline over motivation, like it's some badge of honor, like they're bragging. But the truth is, if you can actually generate motivation, produce motivation on demand, you don't need to rely on discipline nearly as much. Because discipline means forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do. Motivation means actually wanting to do it. Which one sounds easier to you? A lot of you guys that are watching this are fitness enthusiasts. You guys are fitness fanatics. You're gym bros, you're gym gals. And a lot of times when you go to the gym, you love going to the gym, so you don't really need the discipline because you're motivated. And yes, a lot of times a discipline does count because you're going to have days when you don't want to show up to the gym. But if you love going, it makes it far easier, doesn't it? Or if you're motivated to always go, it makes the gym easy because you're motivated. It's something you love to do. So once again, it's not about forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do. Motivation means actually wanting to do it. And again, wanting to do it makes it a lot easier. So the problem isn't that motivation does not work. The problem is most people don't understand how to cultivate motivation. They don't know how to manufacture motivation that actually works on a neurological level. Now, once you understand the science behind motivation, you can hack your own brain to create it on demand. So, at its core, motivation is driven by a neurotransmitter called dopamine, the happy chemical, right? And whenever you see someone who's fired up, energized, and taking massive action, like, man, how the fuck does this guy do that? What you're really seeing is someone who has high dopamine levels directed towards productive activities. Like they love doing the work. So think of dopamine like as your brain's motivation molecule. Without it, you literally cannot feel motivated. It's biologically impossible. So what most people go wrong is they waste their dopamine on low value activities, and then they wonder why they don't have any motivation left for the important shit. You see, your brain produces a certain amount of dopamine each day. So think of it as a motivation budget. You have a limited amount in the bank. And when you engage in highly stimulating activities that are pretty much useless, like scrolling on social media, playing video games, watching porn, or just shit that doesn't matter. You're just constantly checking your phone. You're looking for likes and comments and stuff like that. You're spending that dopamine budget on things that don't move the needle forward. They don't move you towards your goal. So by the time you need to work on your business, that you need to hit the gym or you need to create content or you need to do something that produces income for you, your motivation tank is empty. Not because you're lazy, but because you've literally used up all your brain's motivational resources, used up all that dopamine, right? So the first step to manufacturing motivation is protecting your dopamine. This means being intentional about what you allow to stimulate your brain, especially early in the day, in the morning, especially that time. Now, I'm not saying to never enjoy these things. I'm guilty just as much as you are. Sometimes I doom scroll through TikTok on hilarious videos. We're all guilty of it. But what I'm saying is to be strategic about when you enjoy them. Save them as a reward after you've done the important work, not before. So the second part of this motivation formula is what I call the achievement ladder. And this is about structuring your tasks in a way that builds momentum through small wins. Because your brain loves completion. Humans, we love completing shit because we feel like we achieved something. So every time you finish something, you get a small hit of dopamine. And we can use this to our advantage to build momentum. And instead of looking at a massive project or a goal that feels overwhelming, what you want to do is reverse engineer it and break it down into the smallest possible steps, right? And then just chip away one by one. Then start with something so ridiculously easy that it would be embarrassing not to do it, right? It is so easy that you can just knock it out the park. And this is how you start stacking small daily wins and building the momentum to actually get the big shit done. For example, if you're struggling to work out, don't set the goal as do a 60-minute intensive workout. Of course, for us gym goers, it's easy, but for a beginner, it's not. So instead, you want to set it as put it on my workout clothes, right? The steps that build up to doing the big activity, right? Put in my workout clothes, or just do one set of push-ups. And, once you complete that small, tiny step, your brain, what happens is you get a small dopamine hit. And this makes the next step slightly easier. Before you know it, you've built momentum and are completing the entire task list that you had for the day. I use this technique every single day with my calendar. What I do is I break my day into small, manageable chunks, usually 30 to 60 minutes long, and I focus only on that current block. I don't worry about everything I need to do for the day. I just focus on winning the current 30 to 60 minute block activity. And this approach has completely transformed my productivity. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm guilty. Sometimes I will have 10 tasks for the day, broken down into 30 to 60 minute increments, from most important to least important. And sometimes I'll find myself getting distracted. I'll be like, okay, what are all the things I need to do? Oh, is this more important? Is this more important? And then I waste like 10 minutes trying to figure out what I should focus on first. And then I just go back to saying, hey, Eric, just focus on this one block, build the momentum, stack the wins, and eventually we'll get to the rest of the stuff. And let me tell you, this approach is what some of the most high income earners in the world use. It transformed my productivity like crazy. I've been struggling with ADD and ADHD my whole entire life pretty much. And especially when I first started my business, I was like, man, there's all these activities I need to focus on, and I would get nothing done. Instead, when my coach taught me like, hey, put them on a list, on a pad, write them down, put it on your phone, put it in a Google document, you can start checking off the boxes and building that momentum. So my productivity skyrocketed, and as a result, I started seeing results. So instead of being overwhelmed by, everything I need to do, I just focus on stacking small wins throughout the day. Because the key to success is stacking those small wins. That's going to create the big breakthroughs. So the key is making the first step so easy that it requires almost no motivation to start. Because that motion creates emotion. And once you start moving, the motivation often follows. Does that make sense? Great. So the third thing of this is, of the motivation formula, is what I call the success evidence system. This is about strategically using your past wins and future vision to fuel your motivation. So here's how it works. What you're going to do is create 2 documents that you review every single morning. The first is going to be your evidence list. This is a running log of all your wins, achievements, and successes, no matter how small. And every time you overcome an obstacle, you hit a milestone, a new benchmark, or receive positive feedback, add it to that list. And so when you're feeling unmotivated, this list will serve you as concrete evidence that you are capable of success. It reminds you of what you have done, your accomplishments, your achievements that you've already accomplished, right? A lot of us struggle with feeling inadequate, like we're not good enough at something. And this will remind you of what you've already accomplished and builds confidence that you can do it again. There's many times where I feel like I suck, right? Where I feel like I'm in this, I just feel like I'm inadequate. Like maybe I'm not good enough to build a business, and then I remind myself, well, hey, you already got the 2 Comma Club award. You made $3 million last year. You've impacted X amount of lives. Like you've worked with 1,300 trainers. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, and I'm like, you're right, Eric. I have a conversation with myself. And the second document is your vision identity. This isn't just a list of goals, but it's actually a detailed description of the person you are becoming. And so I like to write it out in present tense, as if I'm already this person that I want to be. So for example, when I first started my online fitness business, I was living in my mother's living room with a mattress on the floor and a curtain as a door, and in her living room. I didn't even have my own room because I couldn't afford my own place. Now, although I wasn't a millionaire, I said I was a millionaire. I said I had the Lamborghini. I said I had this big business. So I acted as if I was, excuse me, I was performing as if I already had these things, right? And it made me do the things that were actually required to be this person. For example, I am someone who consistently shows up for my workouts. You can put on there, even when I don't feel like it. I'm making 10 grand a month. I'm making 50 grand a month. I have employees. I have a team. I'm not a 9-to-5er. I'm the type of person who delivers results for my clients. I have the discipline to choose long-term success over short-term comfort, right? And then what you're going to do is you are going to review both of these documents every single morning before you start your day. And this primes your brain to see yourself as someone who takes action and gets results. And what's happening on a neurological level is that you're creating a new association, right? You start to associate yourself with being this millionaire and producing the activities that do it. You're training your brain to associate your identity with taking action, which makes motivation come more naturally. Now, the most powerful motivator is your identity, right? You got to change your identity, especially if you're new to business, you're trying to start something, big and something scary. You got to start shifting your identity from a 9-to-5er to a CEO. And so you start to truly see yourself as a type of person who does certain things, and you no longer need to force yourself to do them. They just become a part of what your identity is and who you are. Am I making sense? You guys following along? And it can be challenging shifting your identity. You're going to have times where you feel inadequate and like you're not good enough. That's totally normal. Our clients struggle with that all the time, including myself. To this day, I still go through that. And then I just remember, when I first started, once again, I used to say, I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I am better than freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger. When I was competing, I had zero bodybuilding experience. And my coach was like, just do it. And I was like, man, I'm about to compete against these guys who are juicing, who have stepped on stage hundreds of times. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to beat them. I'm better than Arnold Schwarzenegger. I used to say these radical, insane things. It's part of being the 1% of crazy, as Russell Brunson calls it, right? You got to be crazy, obsessed, and you got to almost brainwash yourself into thinking that you are the best, and then you'll start acting as if you are the best. Cool? So the fourth part of the motivation formula is what I call emotional leverage system. And this is about harnessing both positive and negative emotions to drive action. According to psychology, I love psychology, by the way, humans are motivated by 2 primary forces. One is moving towards pleasure and away from pain, and most people focus only on the positive side. But the negative can be equally powerful when used correctly. So you want to create 2 more documents that you review daily. The first is your inspiration list. This includes all the reasons why your goals matter to you, how they will, how achieving them will change your life, and also who else will benefit. Maybe as a result of you having more money, you can impact your family more. You can buy them that house in Mexico, whatever it is. And what opportunities will open up as a result of this as well. Now, you want to get specific and emotional here, right? And I like to vision it while I'm doing it, like how I'll feel, and actually feel as if I have it in my hands already. The second is what I call your consequence list. And this outlines the cost of what happens if you don't take action. What is it costing? Is it time? Is it money? Is it frustration? Is it peace of mind? Right? The consequences of not taking action. Excuse me. I'm a little sick right now. So what opportunities will you miss? How will you feel about yourself if you miss these opportunities? Who the hell will you disappoint? Will your girlfriend be pissed off at you? Will your kids, your mom, your dad, whatever it is? Again, get very specific and emotional about it. Now, I'm not suggesting you operate from a place of fear or negativity all the time, but strategically using both positive inspiration and a desire to avoid negative consequences creates a powerful motivation cocktail. When I was building, let me give you an example. When I was building my first online fitness business, I kept a mental list of everyone who doubted me or said I couldn't succeed. Guys, I went through 3 years of jail, and the guards used to say, you'll be back. Statistically, I would have been back. You're going to fail. You're not going to do this. And I used to say, watch me. I'm going to be a millionaire and shit on the whole world. So every doubter just fueled me. I used it as fuel. And every time I felt like giving up, I'd review that list and think, I refuse to lose. I refuse to let them be right about me. I used to think about the consequences of my mom. Like, my mom isn't a rich woman. She's just a hairstylist. Like, what happens if I don't get very financially successful? My mom will have to work her whole entire life. And I use that consequence as motivation to move forward. So I refused to let them be right about me. And I combined this with my vision of helping thousands of other people transform their bodies and lives. And this created unstoppable motivation, even on my worst days, even on the days where I felt like doing absolutely nothing. So the key is balance, using both positive and negative emotional leverage to create a complete motivation system. The next thing is the environment design, okay? The final part of this formula is setting up your environment for success, because your environment will dictate your actions. So this is about structuring your physical space and social circle to make motivation the default, just normal, like just habitual to you, rather than something you have to force, right? Because your environment has a massive impact on your motivation levels. If your phone is crowded and constantly buzzing with notifications that are not really so important in contributing to your success, you basically have junk food in your kitchen. That's like a fat fuck trying to lose weight, surrounded by Cheetos, ice cream, and cookies in the refrigerator. It's ridiculous. It makes it so much harder to lose weight when you have all these temptations around you. And as well as when you're surrounded by negative people who don't support your goals, you're fighting an uphill battle. Instead, you want to design your environment to make motivation effortless and easy. So what I do is, like, I don't know how much of you can see in my office right now. You probably can't see too much. But, I have my 2 Comma Club over right there, which is a constant reminder that I made over $1 million per year using one funnel that only a very small percentage, I think it's like 5% of entrepreneurs ever achieve. I've got books there, right? From some of my favorite entrepreneurs. I got the Dragon Ball Z there just because I'm a nutcase and I feel like I am a Super Saiyan. Okay, I like to think like this, so I act as if I am that Super Saiyan, a beast, a monster. I've got me flexing over there, which was a gift from somebody. And then I got the knight to remind me that I'm a king. So instead, you want to design your environment like that to make motivation easy. Every time I come in here, it's easy for me to put into work. So first, you want to eliminate friction for positive behaviors. Keep your workout clothes ready, right? It's like if you're trying to lose weight and you find it hard to go to the gym, at least have your workouts clothes ready, like small wins. And prepare healthy meals in advance. Set up your workspace before you end each day so it's ready for tomorrow, like my workspace is set up. And second is create friction for negative behaviors. Put your phone in another room when you're working. Uninstall all those useless applications that aren't contributing to your success. Don't keep the tempting foods in your house, right? Put your phone on focus mode. So focus mode for me, I literally don't let any text messages go through. No social media pop-ups or notifications, no likes, comments. I don't want to see any of it, because then it distracts me from what I'm trying to get done. It's like me trying to record this video and I see my friend texting me 100 times. I'm like, oh shit, and I lose focus, right? So I remove all those temptations that are not so important. Cool? Awesome. Third is surround yourself around the right people. They say you are the 5 people that you hang around or 4 people that you hang around, whatever it is. Right? And it's extremely important. So find a community that shares your ambitions and values, that are trying to do what you want to do. And distance yourself from those who drain your energy or discourage you from your goals, of people that are naysayers, that are negative, who don't contribute to it. I've designed my entire life around this principle. My house is set up and ready to work at all times. My phone goes into do not disturb mode, essentially, a focus mode that I specifically set up to only have the notifications that I need for business in there, okay? So that I can do focus work. My calendar is structured to protect my most productive hours. And most importantly, I built a community of ambitious, positive people who pull me rather than drag me down. Because your willpower is limited, my friend. Instead of using it to fight against your environment, use it to design an environment that naturally produces motivation and success. So there you have it. That is the complete motivation formula. Remember, this is what it comes down to. Let's recap. 1, protect your dopamine by being strategic about stimulating activities. 2, use the achievement ladder to build momentum through small wins. 3, implement the success evidence system to leverage your past and future. 4, apply the emotional leverage system to harness both positive and negative emotions. 5, design your environment to make motivation easy, the default, just normal, habitual. It's like waking up in the morning and brushing your teeth. It just happens. And when you combine these 5 elements, you create a system that generates motivation on demand, even when you don't feel like it and you feel like shit. Because remember, motivation isn't something you either have or you don't have. It's something you can manufacture through strategic actions and environmental design. The most successful people in the world, excuse me, are not those who are naturally motivated all the time. They are the ones who had the systems in place to create motivation when they need it the most. For example, I'm sick right now. My throat hurts. You can probably hear it in my voice. But I knew I needed to get shit done. When you implement this formula, you will never have to rely solely on discipline. Again, you'll actually want to take action towards your goals. So guys, I hope you found this valuable. If you did, smash that like button for me. Subscribe for more content on building your fitness business, on mindset, on just fucking being awesome. And comment below. Let me know, what you're struggling with the most in your business and motivation, whatever it is. And, I read every single comment. I'll try to make a video on it. And it really just helps me produce better content for you guys as well. And if you're serious about, taking your business to the next level, click that link in the description to book a strategy call with my team so that we can help you get focused and implement systems like this one to grow your business while working fewer hours. This is Eric Anthony Klima, guys, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.